Mic check.
Oh, jeez.
Get Luke.
All right.
Yo.
He's been on the milk carton this whole year too. Well, Wayne Simmons.
Simmer, yeah. Taylor, who responded back to Verizon? Was that Joe?
Probably Marcus.
That was pretty awesome, not gonna lie.
Yeah, Marcus is dealing with most of it, so he's got plenty of arsenal.
Phew. Where we at here? Where we at here?
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna bust this out. You guys are busting out your stuff. I'm gonna bust out some little Sixer action. We're gonna
There you
talk to
go.
Cody.
James, shut that door, please. Thank you, James.
You got it.
Think how he's gonna try and fleece Gruden for Amari Cooper?
I hope he gets him. I like Amari Cooper, actually.
We'll see.
Well, let's see. It wasn't that hard to get Khalil Mack away from the Raiders.
Joey, where's your mic? Your mic is loud.
Check that too.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Is it your headphones or? Hello, hello.
Is
hello?
it me? Is it?
Might be your headphones.
That's better.
Okay. No, I mean, like, they got rid of Khalil Mack with no issue.
True that.
John Gruden's having his inner Chip Kelly. Trying to trade everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has a $100 million 10-year contract. Guaranteed.
That's insane.
That is nuts. That is great. Freaking nuts.
Well, you wanted the man, you got the man.
Now you gotta pay the price.
Just remember, before we wanted Doug Peterson, we were kind of rooting for Chucky, too.
That's true.
Good point. Good point.
Boys, ready? It's gonna be a whirlwind.
Showtime.
Oh man.
I'll be the Will Lynn in the room. I was born ready.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. With me, as always, Joe Marks,
What is happening?
James Scorza,
Yo.
my main man Pat from Ambler in the studio.
What's going on, buddy?
Not much. And Taylor behind the glass, making the magic happen. You can catch Taylor's show, The Microphonies, tonight at 11 o'clock here on Wildfire Radio. So, boys, we're jumping right into it. We got a jam-packed show today. We got Bob Cooney from 97.5 The Fanatic Morning Show coming on in about 10 minutes. Then you got a buddy of ours, friend of the show, Michael Gillespie, is going to hop on with us around 9:45. And then Willie Guns will be jumping on with us to close out the show. So let's jump right into some Flyers talk here, boys. Pat from Ambler is a big Flyers fan as I know out there. With the Flyers in the basement of the Atlantic Division in this young season, Pat, I'm going to start with you. Is this a sign of what the season is going to be, or is this just due to the injuries? Because we're missing two key cogs here.
It's a sign of, it's all that culminated in one. I mean, they do have some injuries, but look, I mean, it's in everybody's eyes. Everyone can see that. An alien from Mars can see it. You need goaltending, and this is what the game's all about. I mean, if you're going to want to succeed in this league, I mean, you're going to need goaltending. And listen, I'm going to try to give Brian Elliott a chance at trying to bounce back here. But listen, he's 32, 33 years old. He's a little, it's a little tough for him right now. They need to bring Carter Hart up here. I've been saying it for months. I'm stressed over talking about it. I know he needs development time. But what else do you got? I mean, right now he's the best of what you got. He's ready to play. He's cocky enough. He's shown that he's ready to step in. And listen, we all thought Carson Wentz needed a little time. But guess what? He came in here and lit the world on fire.
That's a good analogy.
You know what I mean? We need Ben Simmons, same thing. Came off an injury. We thought, maybe we should keep him in bubble wrap for a little bit longer. No, he came in and he lit the world on fire. He became Rookie of the Year, right? So let this kid come up. Let him show what he can do. You want to find out what you got in Carter Hart. This is the time you need him now. Before you wash away this season, let's show the fan base that you're for real and you want to contend for a cup. I mean, that kid is going to help you contend for a cup. And and the other side of the puck, they do definitely need some offensive power. They got connected. I like his speed. They got Nolan Patrick, and Giroux's got some shots, but he got shut down on Saturday afternoon by Fleury. So, I mean, other than those three, you really have inconsistent shooting. I mean, look at Gudis. Look at McDonald. Those guys wouldn't make any other team besides this Flyers locker room, but that's my take on it.
Joe?
Okay, so have some heart by bringing up Hart. That's the way I put it. Listen, I've been a fan of Carter Hart for a long time. Since Tom kind of brought this kid to my attention, I have been like the #1 fan. I think that this team is incredibly inconsistent, and I don't think that they're better than last year's team. In fact, I think they're either exactly where they were last year at the end or exactly where they probably were when they were going through some of their struggles. There's no identity to this team. We don't know exactly where we're going and how we're getting there. With a lot of the injuries, you can make that as a plausible excuse. Lindbaum going down, Lawton going down, JVR going down. You can make all that as a plausible.
Patrick, too.
Nolan Patrick going down. You can make that all as a plausible excuse. You can. But the bottom line is that the leadership's not there, the strategy's not there. I don't know if it's just, you can't just put it on one player, the blame on one player. It's the happenstance that this team is becoming this inconsistent shell of what they should become. They have the talent on the team to become a Stanley Cup contender, but they just don't have the measurables right now to be able to put all that together.
I think the Flyers should have gone after a scorer. Like, basically, they had guys that were free agents that were scorers. Like, Matt Pacioretty, James Neal was up there. Maybe, like, Michael Grabner. You gotta get scoring first and foremost to get, like, Carter Hart, like, some time. But Carter Hart is, like, the future. I understand that. But you gotta get scoring around him. I mean, JVR is injured, but you got to replace him. Like in 2012, we had Scott Hartnell back in the day. But you need to have like a scorer to like. Claude Giroux can't do it all by himself, right?
Well, he's not even doing it now. I mean, that's right. The frustration that I have right now is that you have Hackstall who's putting the first line back together with Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek. You can't stack the first line and just say that's the solution. That's not going to be helpful. Every quality team out there has at least 2 power lines and at least a third that can give you at least 20 goals in that line. The problem right now is that there's no consistency from line 1 to line 4.
Correct.
And that's the problem. I mean, I think it's, I said this a couple months ago, is that I don't feel like Giroud deserves to have the seat. And one of the frustrations that I have is that I don't feel like he's vocal enough, he's in people's face enough, he's got the passion anymore. I think he's kind of checked out of like what he really wants from this team. Either that or they've fallen, either that or his voice has fallen on deaf ears.
I'll give Drew this. I picture Drew like Larry Fitzgerald. He never had the quarterback to throw him the ball. I just picture he never had that goaltender to help him with the support. I just think Drew, if he had a decent enough goaltending, I think he can help carry this team further in the playoffs. And I understand it's hard to do that against Ovechkin, Crosby, Stamkos. I understand the NHL East has got some heavyweights. But like I said, if he had the goaltending that he needs, I feel like he can help carry this team. And maybe, Joe, you're right. Maybe he don't have the leadership that he's supposed to have when you're the captain. Maybe you're right with that. But like I feel like if the guy just had that goaltending that helped him carry, he would be just fine.
I mean, look at this team back in the heyday when we were making the playoffs almost every year. We had, even if it was inconsistent, we had like different goaltenders. We had at least quality goaltending.
Yeah, we had Boucher and we had Leighton
and Garth Snow back in the day. Like, you had quality goaltending.
John Van Briesbroek, another one.
Right. It may have been like a different goaltender when it seemed like a different goaltender every year. But the thing was that at least we had a quality goaltender back there. So I'll agree with you in that, Pat, is that like you do need that quality goaltender. But I also think that when we were also in those dominant teams, we also had lines that weren't just one power line. We had depth down the lineup. I also feel like this team is not physical enough. And I feel like they're kind of laying up and playing to this speed game, and they're getting out physical.
And I'm with you that too, Joe. I've noticed the last game I saw, once you show fatigue on that ice, once you start slide into that puck, that guy behind you is bam. He's right behind you, ready to take it off your hands, ready to make you pay for that.
And that's how Lindblom got knocked out.
Yeah,
right.
Provorov just got messed up a couple nights ago in the home opener with Logan Couture, I think.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry, I'm kind of got things going on over here. The boys carrying me here. Just to touch back on the goalie thing, it always felt like we got decent goalies too late in their careers. Same, even with Van Beesbrook, it just felt like we got them
at a cheap price.
2 to 3 years too late.
But at least we got like one good quality year, and then it like faded with time.
Yeah,
it faded really quickly.
You had goalie by committee the majority of the time you've been watching the Flyers, with the exception of a few years, and that's not going to get done. It's not going to get it done in today's NHL.
We traded away Richardson Carter for Ilya Briscoe. I mean, guess what happened to him?
I mean,
Right.
Here's the thing, and if we used the Penguins as a prototype for things as far as goaltending, and the reason why I say that is because Marc-Andre Fleury was their stud goaltender, and then they went to the backup that they have now, who was the backup at the time, but now is their starter, and they just let Fleury walk. You have the embarrassment of riches that a team like that had in net, and still had the quality skaters and scorers that they have. It means that they had faith that Fleury was going to do it. They had to take a chance in order to find out whether or not this kid had the stuff. And even when they found out that he had the stuff, they had enough balls to say, okay, we don't need you anymore. We got another young kid. I think the Flyers need to stop investing in $5 or $6 or $7 million a year in these veteran goaltenders with the hopes and dreams that you're going to get another year out of them, like a Beesbrook or a Leighton or whatnot. you need to start believing in the farm system that you're building.
Correct. I totally agree with you. I mean, look at the goaltender they got now. I can't even say his name. Like, I'm pretty sure the AHL hasn't even heard of this guy. I mean, come on. I mean, like, I don't know what Hextall's plans are. I mean, trying to keep this kid in bubble wrap, but, you know, it's time to take it off. At least a little bit. I mean, put him in there.
This guy, when Tom told me about this guy, I looked him up. And I'm a big proponent, and Tom knows this, is that I'm a big proponent that, like, when you tell me to look somebody up, I get the whole history. I get the whole bio. This kid is 20-something years old, 21 years old. He's got a trophy case.
Joey, let me interrupt you here. I know we're in some heated Flyers talk here. But ladies and gentlemen, on the line with us right now is one of my absolute favorite people in sports talk radio. After a brilliant 25-year career at the Daily News and countless years covering and writing about your Philadelphia 76ers, to his current post today co-hosting the 97.5 The Fanatic Morning Show. As amazing as all these accolades are, maybe his most impressive is being the first two-time guest on the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Cooney joins us. What's going on, brother?
Let's keep the years of the Daily News at like a little around 20 or something like that.
We're trying not to date yourself there, Bob.
I hear you. How you doing, guys? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's
great,
good,
good,
brother.
brother.
Thank you for coming on. Look, man, I'll jump right into it because I know you got to be up early for the show tomorrow. Before we get into some Sixers, Bob, these Birds, are they back? Are the Eagles back, or we got to wait a couple of weeks?
Yeah, look, you needed to get out of the Giants game when you got out of it. That was a solid outing from all three sides of the ball, special teams, defense, offense. But you needed that. You needed to look at the game. It didn't matter what the Giants did. You needed the Eagles to come out and do something that made you happy, and that's what happened.
Nice.
But you're playing against an awful Giants team.
That's true.
Yes, I think you take things out of it, and you should be happy with it. But at the same time, no, I can't say they're back. That needs to be proven over the next few weeks.
Gotcha.
Maybe even more.
Yeah. How do you like our chances against Carolina? What do you think? You think they come out? You think they come out of Lincoln Financial Field this Sunday, coming with a victory, or what?
I do like them because Kansas City just doesn't play well against the Eagles all that often. Last year was a struggle. Last year was a great game. That Thursday night game last year was a real battle. It was physical. It was tough. But the Eagles won that game, having to go down there a short week, physical game. That was the game that really made me think, like, wow, this team might be pretty good. But Carolina's up and down. I think Eagles had enough games from Carolina that day. I thought Carolina played well last year on that Thursday night, and the Eagles still beat them. I think Carolina's just such an up and down team. I think the Eagles kind of own Cam Newton a little bit. I think they come out on top on Sunday. And again, what you're looking for is you need to come out of there saying, all right, I'm positive about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel real good about the Eagles because of whatever it is.
Absolutely. All right, well, Bob, we're gonna get into tomorrow night season opener against Boston, the team that knocked us out of the playoffs last year. Let me ask you a question. This year's Sixers roster compared to last year's Sixers roster, are they better or worse, or even keel compared to last year, in your opinion?
That's a good question. That's a real good question. I'm a big fan of Marco Bellinelli, and I'm a big fan of Ersan Ilyasova also. I think that those two losses hurt a little bit. Now, moving forward, what you got, is it better? I don't know. As you guys know, and everybody will say this moving forward, the big key is Markelle Fultz. I mean, that's it. That's the big key. That's your free agent acquisition during the off season. If you have to look at it like that, that's the guy that's going to make things go. We talked to Brett this morning on our show, and he said, yeah, he's going to start Markelle, and he's going to ride him, and he's going to, he's a 20-year-old, and this is what he's all about. So that's the biggest key for this season for the Sixers. Now, it might be a better team come January, February, March than it is now, simply because Markelle has to learn how to play in the NBA. But I don't know if this roster, as currently constructed, is better. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know that it's better than the one that was constructed at the end of last season.
Gotcha. No, I kind of had the same feeling that you're just going to have to wait this out and see. Speaking of Markel Fultz, is his shot back from what you've seen in preseason? Now, I'm sure you've been down there and seen at some point. How has he looked to you?
Yes, better, yes. No question. I mean, you can't go from having the yips and not being able to shoot the ball at all to where he is now without saying it's not better. I mean, it is better. Now, I wasn't in China, obviously, with the team, and there's been some reports that he's kind of regressed a little bit, and things, don't look as good as with his shot as it did a few weeks ago. I don't know that. I haven't seen it, and I'm hoping to stop down there. Well, I'm not here tomorrow, but I'm going to be down there Wednesday and Thursday to see those guys. I'll say this: he has NBA skill sets without his shot, that is really good. He is a very good penetrator. He's a very good interior passer. He's a very good long passer. He's a really good defender. He's a ball hawk. He does a lot of things that can keep him in the NBA without his shot, and he does them very well. Is that enough to help the Sixers moving forward if he doesn't have a shot because you have another guard that doesn't really have a shot? I don't know. That's where Brent's going to have to figure out when do you put in J.J. Redick, when do you keep in Markel Fultz. It's going to be a fluid thing, and Brent's going to have to figure it all out.
Speaking of that little segue to the other guard without a shot, it was on the back of a milk carton during preseason. You didn't really see that 12 to 15 footer that we were looking for out of Ben. You think we're going to see that during the regular season?
I think you have to. I mean, if not, we're going to see a bunch of shell defense like we saw last year in the playoffs. Miami did it. Boston did it, where basically he comes down the court and you just put a shell around the foul line, and you don't let him dribble penetrate. You don't let him get where he wants to be. Now, if they're going to have Markel Fultz in the game, like Greg said to us this morning, he said in the media all throughout, it's a case where Markel has the ball and they try to put Ben Simmons down on the baseline. And I think that's a great move, right? I think having Ben Simmons on the baseline where he can grab a ball there, you have the ability to pass, you have the ability to dribble, you have the ability to shoot. I mean, there's so many things. That's my favorite place on a basketball court. When I played, when I coached, whatever, is to watch a guy be able to find his way around the court starting from the baseline. I think that's what Brett's going to look to do. Listen, the Sixers are going to be at their best, and this is what Brett wants. He wants rebound, floor dribbles, shot. Rebound, floor dribbles, pass, dunk. That's what they want. If they have to go half court after a basket, whatever it may be, then that's where it gets a little dicey, and that's where Ben Simmons is probably going to have to go to the baseline.
Gotcha. Yeah. Moving to the next star on the team into Joel Embiid here. Is he going to transition into a top 5 to 10 player this year in the league? I've heard his conditioning is much better than it was last year. The only thing that you would have to worry about would have to be, I guess, a maturity level.
You always worry about him. Like, he's a kid. He's 24 years old, whatever he is, 24, 25. I mean, those guys are kids. Yeah, you worry about that. Joel has the personality that we all know about. We love it. We all love it. Is it concerning sometimes? Maybe. But I do think the most impressive thing about him, guys, is that all those years that he didn't play. Now think about, his freshman year, he got hurt in Kansas. And then he had to take 2 more years off. And then he got hurt his first year. So there was a span of 4 years there where he barely played at all. He learned the game just by imitating people. He watched tape of Hakeem Olajuwon, and if you watch him now, his drop step, spin, dribble, shoot, fade away, whatever it may be, is just imitation. I mean, it's not even like working hard on the court as much as he would like to. It's just from imitation. That's how talented this kid is. So this year, Brett put it to him. You got to get on the post more. You have to dominate inside. You guys have watched preseason just like I have. He's not fading away from the basket anymore. It's up and under. His last step is right at the basket. Like, he wants to dominate at the basket, and he knows he can do it. He's imitating people that have done it, and he's working on it. Yeah, do I think he could be a top MVP in the league? No question. The Sixers finished first or second seed in the East, and he's a 25-13 and 3-block a night guy. No question in my mind. He's league up there.
Beautiful. I got two more for you, Bob. One, the first one is, can we stay on the court with this Boston team?
You know, I hate to say this, but like, yeah, yet to be determined. But this Boston team is what we saw last year. You know, the team that, and I talked to Brett about this all summer. You know, how do you catch up with these teams? What do you do? Like, is your first goal to get free agents that'll bring you closer to the Celtics? Well, yeah, obviously the team that beat you, you want to get closer to, but you don't even know who the Celtics are. I mean, they're bringing Kyrie Irving in, they're bringing Gordon Hayward in. They're going to be a totally different team than you saw last year, and I would assume a better team if you bring in the two best players are back healthy. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a different way that Boston plays. I think it's not going to be the same team that we saw in the playoffs last year, but it's going to be a better team. It's going to be a team that's I think it might be a team that comes back to a team that the Sixers match up with better.
Interesting. Well, look, Bob, I know you got to be up early. I appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time. My last question, I'm going to put you on the spot. We're in the brand new Wildfire Studios here over in Westville, New Jersey. You think we could possibly talk you into...
That's over in Westville, right around the
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say, can we get you in studio one of these Mondays down the road here?
No question.
My man.
Yeah, I'll bring a cooler. I'll heat the cooler and I'll do some movies and hang out.
You just bring yourself. I'll take care of all that, Bob. But I appreciate your time, my brother. Thank you very much. Bob Cooney, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bobby.
You too. Good stuff. Bob always brings it, man.
Bob is MVP. in
Yeah,
my book.
Oh my
always.
gosh, I love listening to him at 5 o'clock in the morning. He is awesome.
Dude, there's always something that, look, a lot of sports talk radio is, I don't want to use the term regurgitating, but it's regurgitating the same stuff over and over again and trying to put your own little spin on it. Bob I always get a little nugget or something that I wasn't thinking in that direction or my mind wasn't where his is, and obviously that's just from a guy who's been doing it for a
I
very long
always
time.
see it as like three-dimensional thinking. Like he sees it from a different spectrum than everyone else.
Yeah,
sees
second
it.
level thinking.
Yeah.
As Mikey Miss would say.
It's like, okay, everyone else is going to see it as, okay, I'm going to call it like how I see it and how it's written on the stat sheet. Cooney was like, no, okay, that's what's on the stat sheet, but this is what I saw. This is what I saw in the court. I mean, you heard that even with the interview. He basically was saying, people are saying that over in China. Now, I wasn't there, but people are saying that over in China, they didn't think that Fultz's shot was as good as... And if he feels that way, or if he trusts the people he's getting that viewpoint from, then he has that reason to doubt.
All right, so let me put you guys on the spot with some Sixers knowledge here. I want you guys to drop some. What are you guys looking forward to seeing the most out of the 76ers this year, in this year of this regime?
I'm kind of on board with a little bit of what Bob said, and that is I want to see Joel kind of take charge. There was so many times last year where I felt like he was just fading away. He was going into the post, he was backing the guy down, and then he was fade away. But no. You can dominate that hole.
Do you think that part of that was conditioning?
No.
Part of that was just tired, like he's leaning on you, trying to back in?
Because I think he just wants to be cute about it. He wants to be finesse. He doesn't want to be the prototypical power guy. But look, sometimes you gotta get a little ugly with it.
I was going to say, he's definitely...
gotta get a little ugly with it.
He's not. Pat, what are you looking for in this out of this year's 76ers team?
Believe it or not, I'm looking towards Elton Brand and on his first year on the job. I want to see, what he said in the press conference. If this guy, just using for example, if Markelle Fultz doesn't live up to his potential, okay, well then I'm going to go out and find a free agent who's going to do your job, and I'm going to move on. He's ready to compete now. He knows, he feels the fan base. He's ready to go out and make a big splash. So my eyes, I want to see how Elton Brand adjusted to what he's got in front of him, and how he handles everything that's coming at him. And I just want to see him make us beat Boston. How he's going to have us get ready to prepare to beat Boston.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with the 76ers.
I like that. Like,
You know
what
what I mean?
pieces he's going to put in place.
Exactly. How's he going to pan out with the team?
James, how about you?
Honestly, I don't know exactly. Like the one thing that I'll keep my eye on, I put a couple of things down, like Simmons' foul free throws, obviously, and Markelle Fultz's jump shot. maybe Joel Embiid staying healthy for probably probably playing them in back-to-back games. And
No bone bruises and chips. Keep yourself
Yeah, you know.
healthy. What I was looking for is just a progression. Doesn't have to be a huge leap. It's going to be hard to really surpass a lot of what you did last year. Now, last year there were lower expectations. So now you have to play with that pressure of higher expectations on your shoulder starting the season. But if Ben did work on that 12 to 15 footer, if Markel did find his jump shot, if Joel's conditioning is what it is, if Dario progresses, if Dario Saric progresses even a little bit more, like he plays probably more games than anybody because when he goes home, he's playing in leagues over there. So it'll be interesting to see a rested Dario and a conditioned a conditioned Embiid, Simmons with a 12 to 15 footer and a foul shot possibly,
Obvious.
and Markel Fultz with a serviceable to working jump shot.
So, I mean, I agree with you with the whole, we had lower expectations and they overshot those expectations by a lot last year. We had mentioned this once before on this show, and so I'll bring this back up again. You know, with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, we have that higher expectations with the Eagles. The fan base is a little bit spoiled, but we're holding everybody at a higher standard now. Are we putting too much of pressure on this young team to exceed our own new expectations?
I think this team puts pressure on themselves in a good way. I think they wear it almost like a badge of honor, knowing they have two premier players in the NBA, in Simmons and Embiid. Once we figure out what Fultz is going to be, that guy could be another really nice piece, or he could be a game changer and a third star on your team. You have the perfect player in Dario Saric to take that Draymond Green role on that he has in Golden State. So it's more along the lines of your role players and your little interchangeable parts there. And that comes back to what Pat was saying with let's see what Elton Brand can do. Let's see if he can put us in a position to take that next step with some of the acquisitions and moves that he makes throughout the year. He's a Duke mind. He's smart. He has an eye for the game. He's not far removed from the game, so he knows how all that works. So I'm really interested to see how all that comes together.
And let's be clear, the Sixers interviewed all the prospective GMs too. They interviewed him and all the GMs that they wanted to go for, and he still won out. So there was something that stuck out in their minds that he has that was important enough for them to say, yeah, you got the job. So I think that whatever he brings to the table, the Sixers ownership, they think it's important enough that it's going to take this team to the next level. My hope is that happens, that player connection is what helps him be able to negotiate contracts, negotiate trades, because if you look at like the league now, you got coaches and GMs that are ex-players. So you got guys that Brand probably played with. So that helps. Because you remember that bar we went to in San Diego? Yeah, like maybe he's got old drinking buddies that are like still in front offices now, and maybe they owe him a favor or something. I don't know, but you know, Elton like calling those favors.
If he needs new drinking buddies,
yes,
he doesn't have to look far.
No.
I know for a fact our buddy Bob Cooney will come in here and throw a few back with it. You can just hear it in his voice.
He sounded stoked, man.
No, the first time he was on the show, he asked if we were outside tailgating before we came in.
That was his intro to the interview, and that's why I call it the MVP, because like we had a ball. I mean, we didn't really get to see him at FanFest, but we were in contact with him. He's just a great all-around guy. So he's been like one of our number one supporters, and we love him for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any second here, our friend of the show, Michael Espy, will be calling in. I'm going to bounce a question off you guys here real quick while we're waiting to get Mike lined up here. What are your predictions for the end of the regular season? Where do you see Philadelphia 76ers at?
I would say 52-53 wins like last year.
Okay. I got them finishing third in the East. Looks like We'll hold off on that.
I got to.
Hold on 1 second. Good to go, Taylor? Ladies and gentlemen, on the line with us right now, buddy of mine from the old neighborhood. This guy's a true sportsman. We could talk sports all day, every day with this guy. So on the line with us right now, Michael Gillespie. Benj, what's going on, brother?
Howdy, what's up, guys?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, my man. You have a unique perspective. I'm going to pick your brain here. I got a few questions lined up for you. I know that you keep an eye on the Carolina Panthers down there. How do you think the Eagles stack up against these guys this week?
The biggest thing that's going to help the Eagles out this week is they're out in the line. People talking about safety, they need a safety, or down a receiver, but you can run the ball against these guys and be successful at it. I think we're no problem with that. Peters went down. It's a blessing in disguise. He's just old. I mean, he hurts you. You can't get the ball on the outside. You can't run the screen. You want to run. You can't get climbing downfield the block. So I think, with the blindside guy in there, it's one, to be more successful. You've seen that, Thursday night with the Giants. You know the Giants stink.
Nice. Now, this is a question. I know you have a vision for footwork. If for you guys who don't know, Mike does a lot of strength and conditioning and footwork coaching with some of the youth in the area and high school guys and beyond, college guys prepping for the NFL. So Carson Wentz's footwork. Is he where he needs to be footwork-wise? Have you kind of paid attention to that at all? What do you think? Because it looked like to me last week, pretty much that touchdown pass to Alshon Jeffries, to be able to step up and then step back out of the pocket, work his way to the right, and throw that ball across his body. To me, he looks back, but you have a more trained eye for that than I do. What do you think?
In my opinion, Wentz is one of the best in the league when it comes to footwork at the quarterback position. There's nothing the guy can't do. He's just, he's highly gifted, highly talented. And, I thought he was one of the losing step coming back. It looked like he didn't even miss a step. He came back almost better than what he was. And like I said, as long as on the offensive line, if he can get time, if he can, extend the play, there's nothing he can't do on that field. Especially, he didn't have to be 6'5" on the play, man. He didn't have to be.
Guy's a stud, man.
He's a stud. And in my opinion, he's one of the best in the game already. Sometimes it takes quarterbacks a whole entire career to answer the game. This guy's done it in 3 years.
I know.
It's phenomenal. And his IQ is off the charts. He's got good ball speed. He's a little older. And he's like head and shoulders above a lot of other guys in the league. He's elite, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now you're gonna have to bear with me. I'm bouncing all over the place on you here because we're flowing here on the show, and I want to jump to the 76ers real quick. How are you feeling about Markelle Fultz? What do you think this kid's going to be this season?
Listen, I've been coaching Newman Grace for a few years, right? We were a national program. We played a lot of top teams in the country. I got to see a lot of the top guys in the last 4 years. And we played them after. We scrimmaged them on Villanova when Fultz was a senior. He was hurt. He had like a knee problem. He had like a little nagging knee injury. But the guy's a phenomenal athlete, like 6'5", 6'6", long. He took off from the foul line on 3 guys, like he stepped inside the foul line, and barely missed the dunk. He got fouled. Like the dude is a phenomenal athlete. He's elite in that regard as well. And it's just his shot. You got to get his shot down. He can't do nothing if you can't shoot, especially in that league.
Yeah, I was.
It don't matter how big you are. You can't shoot, then you're really no good.
Yep, I was picking Bob Cooney's brain on that a couple of minutes ago. Let's move to Joel Embiid. Do you think he takes the next step this year? Kind of relishes that role of one of the stars of the NBA?
Yeah, he's right there. He's on the cusp. He's not coming to the If he's not the best center in the league, he's top 2. The only guy I see that's probably better than him, Anthony Davis, you can put him. He can play the floor and fine. But the only other guy I would say that's better than Embiid, but maybe a little bit more experience is Anthony Towns. He's good. We played against him in high school too a couple years ago. And I think Embiid's going to be right there. So we got 2 of the top guys in the league, Ben Simmons and Embiid, and they both can be, they can be mega stars. There's Peter's the player in the league, and he can be a mega star.
Absolutely. I agree.
And one of the things that I'm going to talk about is I know we've been in Celtics tomorrow. We'll go against them guys. I love Jason.
Yeah.
Love him.
He's fun to watch. Not when he's going against your team in the playoffs, but he's young, confident. Watching him in the offseason, him and Joel Embiid actually battling, going back and forth, going point for point. He's an exciting player to watch, man. It's going to be fun. This is that next generation of stars coming out now.
I got a good quick story for you. When I was coaching at the grade, we went to a tournament called the Cancer Research Classic in Wheeling, West Virginia. And the game before ours, we got to see Jason Tatum. He went to Chaminade out of St. Louis against Jalen Brunson. Went to some school in Illinois called Stevens. And they were going at it with each other, dude. They combined for like a total of like 87 points. Johnson ended up with like 48. Tatum had like 39 when they won. But you can just tell Tatum was like, he was going to be that guy, you know what I mean?
Wow.
He was just that much better than everybody else out there on the court.
This is one of the reasons I had you on, man. You definitely got, stories on stories about these guys. Real quick, while I got you here, we've been plugging a live remote that we're doing this Saturday down their rec, 2600 Morris Street. It's called Sheeran Day. For all our listeners have been listening, they know I've been kind of plugging this. It's an all-day softball tournament. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You knew Sean really well. You were friends. Unfortunately, Sean passed away. That's why they have this annual softball tournament. So when people hear me talk about him, give us a couple of words on Sean, the kind of guy he was.
He was, I like to say, he was a big teddy bear. He came off like a tough guy, but he was one of the nicest, kind-hearted guys you'll ever meet. He gave you the shirt off his back. He always cared about putting other people first. That's just the kind of guy he was. He was just a great person. It's a shame, we lost his life so soon. He's out of our lives, but that's why we continue to, remember him through events like this and stuff. Because, and it's better for the neighborhood too. It brings the neighborhood back together.
Yes, sir.
Just a good fun day of, reminiscing, remembering Sean, and just having a good time getting people plugged back in.
Nice. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to bring the show down there. Real quick, Ben, I got one more thing for you. I know you work with the Foundation's Wellness Center. Can you tell us, what that's about, what you guys do there?
Yeah, Foundation's Wellness Center, we're a drug treatment facility. We specialize in substance abuse, individualized care for the clients. We have a place in Florida, Port St. Lucie, that's where I'm at now. I moved out here about a year ago. Started working at Foundation's Wellness about 6-7 months ago. We just opened up a place in York, PA as well, so we got 2 places now. And, we're just trying to help the next person out. Man. That's what it's all about, just helping people out, doing the next right thing. Because it's a brutal epidemic right now.
Yes, sir.
Even though as well as I know where we come from, it's almost normal. Like the abnormal becomes normal.
It does.
It's a bad thing to say, so, and you can't turn a blind eye to it anymore because it's hit everywhere. It's in the suburbs, it's in the inner cities, it's all over the country, man. There's not a state, there's not a family in the entire country that probably isn't affected by, drug and alcohol addiction, substance abuse.
Absolutely. Well, look, Benj, thank you for checking in, brother. I appreciate it, man. It was great having you on, and hopefully down the road, man, we'll get you in studio when you come back home for a little bit.
Absolutely, dude. Thanks for having me. I love you guys.
You got it, man.
Have a blessed week.
Yes, sir. You too. Thanks, Benj. Yeah, go Sixers. Later, brother. So that's Michael Gillespie checking in with us, a good buddy of mine from the old neighborhood, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring. We call him Benji, his nickname. And the reason I wanted to bring him Benji on is because he does have a lot of stories and a lot of knowledge about some of these players that have come up through over the last 3 or 4 years. Well, look, let's jump into the birds. I know I got Willie Guns jumping on with us for the last 15. He'll be calling in about 5 minutes or so. Are the Philadelphia Eagles back? I asked Bob Cooney this. I'm going to ask you guys too. I'm going to start with you, James. I'm coming right your way. Are the Philadelphia Eagles back, or do you need to see more from this team?
I
I need to see more actually, Tom, and because I know the Thursday game was a great game. I gotta admit, it was a great game to watch, and it's been a while since I've seen a great football game since the banner presentation when I was at that game that night. But they gotta probably, like you said before our show, you gotta probably go 2-0 right before the bye week.
I hear you, Pat. How you feeling about the Birds? Are they back? Do you need to see more? You know, same question.
I need to see more. I need to see more. I need to see more consistency out of this offensive line. I need to see more, that shows me that the front line for Carson Wentz is stable enough where the guy ain't running around like a chicken out of his head. I just want to see some more, convincing wins. I want to see more wins like they put the beating on the Giants. Granted, Giants are, 1-5, but also Giants did put up 30 points against the Carolina Panthers. So I still want to see if the Birds can have the same attack against Carolina, against Jacksonville, and if they could go 2-0 with good convincing wins, I'm all in.
Nice. I like my thing is I'm kicking it right to you, Joey. My thing is I'd like to see him go like 2-0 over the next couple of games as well to really get my confidence going.
See, okay, so in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be facing some NFC East divisional rivals. Those games are going to be vitally important. I'm not fully convinced of this team quite yet because the Giants are so horrible.
Yeah.
But I did see glimmers of something I hadn't seen in the previous 2 weeks, which was business. They were all about business. Alshon Jeffrey scores a touchdown. What normally happens? Celebration. Time to dance. Alshon tosses the ball to the ref. He goes to the sidelines. Everybody was saying, look, we're going to go and execute, and that's it. And we'll celebrate after the game is over. The defense had a turnover. Game was in hand. They wanted to dance. That was fine by me. In my opinion, though, you're going to see Carolina. Carolina's going to be feeding for a victory after losing to the Skins. Then later on down the road, we have the Jaguars and then the Rams. Those are going to be two polar opposites. You're going to have a team that in the Jaguars that are going to come with a defense that you got to hope bounce back after the Cowboys loss. And then you have the Rams, who are undefeated currently and look like the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
And that Jaguars game presents a whole nother list of problems. Being in London, the different time zones, everything like that. Starting that game as early as they're going to.
Yeah, it's a 9:30 game, right?
Yeah. Well, for them over there it won't be, but
No,
for us here it will be. So. Yeah, these next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, I think is your litmus test to see where you're going to go for the rest of the year. Now you're 1-0 in the division. That's always a good thing.
I mean, here's the. Go ahead.
No, I just want to add in too, and not just for me, like looking at the offensive line, but the secondary looked really, really sharp. I thought Eli Manning was going to have a field day, throwing to ODB all day long. And Ronald Darby shut him down. And I want to see him shut down Cam Newton all day long. If they could do that and do that against Jacksonville, like I said, I'm back in.
I'm going to piggyback off of what you're saying because I know Will's going to hit on this because he hit on it last week. Rasul Douglas came in, was sharp as attack. Sidney Jones went out. Hopefully Sidney will be okay by next week or this upcoming Sunday. You got to understand something, is that with Corey Graham kind of down, and I'm not sure if Corey Graham is your answer at safety, I think that if Rasul Douglas is your answer at safety, that's fine. If Jalen Mills is your answer at safety, I mean, right now, they're moving all these pieces around. It's
like a line change in hockey.
Right, and it's like, okay, we're going to put you at safety and you at corner. No, we're going to put you at corner and you at safety, and it's probably confusing to some of the players, but it shows one thing that is a glaring positive, which is there is versatility to each of these secondary players. They're able to go and do what they're assigned to do. You do your job in front of you. That has always been the moniker of this team, both this year and last year. It's do the job in front of you, and if you do the job in front of you, then you should be successful. I'm more worried not as much about the corners. But with Peters going down and the possibility of Lane Johnson being down, I'm curious to see how that line is going to react.
Well, on our way here, or on my way to pick you guys up tonight, they were talking about. It was basically breaking news. They were talking about Jason Peters not missing any time with that torn bicep.
Yeah, he said he could play through it,
too.
but I heard that he would probably miss at least this game, if not the next game. But
No, yeah, that's what they said tonight. They said with the mini bye that they're getting
Right.
out of this, he might not miss
Anything,
time.
right.
And as Benji was saying, him getting hurt almost like a blessing in disguise. Like, go rest until, in my opinion, go rest until you're 100% healthy. I would love to see them utilize, put him on the IR for a couple of weeks or what have you, and bring somebody else. Don't dress him and dress somebody else that you can use.
Who would you put in there?
Mulata,
Yeah, definitely.
that kid, that guy's a beast.
Now,
He is a beast.
that's pretty much where I was going. You can dress Mulata, see what he can do. He hasn't been able to crack the dress list yet, just because of who's in front of him.
Yeah,
But you got your right tackle powering through injuries. You got your left tackle powering through injuries. Your offensive line isn't as strong as it was last year, but they're still getting the job done for the most part. People are getting by them. They're the shell of their last year's self.
I mean, I'll say this: the Eagles team right now is like the MASH unit. It's literally like running anybody who's got two legs and can run. I mean, it's getting to that point. I wanted to kind of chime in and ask you guys. There are rumors going around about what's going on with trades and bringing people in. We're talking about all these injuries with Peters and Johnson and how things are with the secondary and the running back situation. Let's not forget about that. What do you think is the priority? Tackle, secondary, or running back? What do you think is the primary, achievement to get like a stud?
Secondary.
Secondary.
I would say line.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with a run game. You still need a solid run game. I mean, listen, I like what Smallwood's doing, but I still think you could get a big fish and run game. You need a big name to get out there and just start making some more pushes. You need. If you can't get, obviously you're probably not going to get Le'Veon Bell, but if you get another big name out there and help you win, help you win these games.
See, I'm of the opinion if you're going to put all your chips, if you're really going to go and make the championship caliber team the new norm in Philly, then you have to go for the guy who's the game breaker. And I feel like Le'Veon Bell, out of all the other positions, out of the secondary, out of the tackle, and out of the running back spot, Patrick Peterson's name has been thrown around with the Cardinals.
Yeah. Amari Cooper.
There's these superstars.
Sure.
But in my mind, Le'Veon Bell is the game breaker out of all of them because he changes two things. He changes the offensive scheme that you run when you have him on the field, and it changes the defense's look. Because now they have to pay attention to the running back and give respect. Right. With what you're saying about Smallwood, I don't think any defense respects him. I don't think any defense should. I mean, I'm not saying Smallwood hasn't stepped up. I just don't think he's stepped up enough to strike fear into any defense's, heart. So if you're going to make championship caliber team the new norm in Philly, you got to put all your chips in the center of the table and say, let's roll the dice. And if you crap out, you crap out. But don't sit there and say this is the new norm and then get, and no offense, get like a Howard or a McCoy. I don't think McCoy is the way he was when he left.
Right.
And he's hitting that age now as a running back where he's hitting that ceiling, that threshold. And you don't know what you're going to get left.
Yeah, you're not getting the volume of breakaway runs that he was getting 3-4 years ago. No, so I don't disagree with you. I say go big or go home. Either stick with Clement or Smallwood or go after Le'Veon Bell hard.
Yeah.
You've moved money around for this year and next year. $6 million this year for Fletcher Cox and $11.5 million for next year. So they're doing something. Howie's a mad scientist. I've said it on this show a bunch of times.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if you won't even think about being in the same weight class as the LA Rams, you better get Bell in here. I mean, you can win the division what you got, but if you want to be a contender with the LA Rams, that's your next best punch.
I mean, that's the thing, is like, okay, so you can win the NFC East, but with the Rams and what you're saying, you're not going to get the first round bye. You're going to probably play in the wild card weekend, which means you're probably going to be,
You can play at the Saints, or you
right, but can you play with them? That's the question.
Joey, right on the line with us right now, as he does every week, checking in from the road. Willie Guns, what's up, my brother?
Yo, what's up, fellas? How's the show
Yo.
going?
Good.
I can't listen to it because we have like really bad signal out here.
Good. No, everything's going good, man. Moving along, running smooth, dude. I'm sorry, I was trying to text you. My service in the new studios isn't quite like it was in the old studios, so you'll have to excuse me. I sent you the text at 10 o'clock, but it didn't come through till 10:04. But Guns, I was asking some of the other guys this question. I'll ask you: Are your Philadelphia Eagles back, or do you need to see more?
I think they're back. I really think they're back. I don't think you're going to see a super big game like they've been having around this time no more.
You don't think it was? You don't think it was just the fact that they took advantage of a inferior New York Giants team?
A lot of people are saying that, but in that case, Carolina's a bad team, and a lot of the other teams that the Giants were in the game were a bad team, I guess, when they lost to them too.
I agree. You have some of these unique perspective, Guns. That's one of the reasons you are who you are. All right, so I'm going to pose a question to the whole room, and you will on the phone here. Is this year's Carson Wentz on pace to be even better than last year's? Will, I'll go to you first since you just jumped on with us. What do you think about this year's Carson Wentz? Is he on pace to be better than last year's?
I think definitely. I think because last year he was still obviously younger, and he never seen the playoffs. He's never seen the Super Bowl, and he got to see it, but he got to see it by having a bed seat, and a headset, talking to Nick Foles. Now it's his team again, and I feel like he's hungry, and he looks really good out there. I feel like you haven't even seen his best game yet, not even close.
Agreed. Pat, how you feeling about Carson this year compared to last?
I totally agree with Willie. This guy, even though it looks like the sky is falling with the offensive line, this guy is still having good games. He's still putting up good numbers. So I totally believe that this man is ready to take off. He's ready, he's ready to execute some more plays. Even though, like I said, the offensive line has been a little shaky, but this man is ready to take off and be an MVP caliber. He's going to remind the whole wide world. Stop talking about Patrick Mahomes. Stop talking about LA Rams quarterback. This is my show, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to the next guy to step up.
Nice, James. What do you think?
I think Carson's going to have a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get a chance to win the Super Bowl last year. And I think this year he's going to be a lot better than he was last year. And he's going to start after that Giants win. I think he's going to go on a run.
Joey?
He's on pace to do everything he did last year and more. And in my opinion, this is the fact. He just needs to stay upright. Stop getting this guy killed. And I mean, I'm not even worried now about him running because he takes care of himself now, it seems like. If they can lower the amount of times he gets pressured and hit and sacked and mollywopped, then I think he's going to last the whole season and completely outdo what he did last year. I mean, he's already on pace to do more than he did last year, and I have full faith that he's, even with the weapons, like I said, the MASH unit that's out there, with the weapons he's got out there, he's making the best out of the situation.
No, I agree. Look, Willie Guns, another one I got for you and you alone. I'm just throwing this question just at you. Can this team go on a 9 or 10 game winning streak like last year's team did?
No, I don't think so.
Now you don't think they got it? I didn't think.
Second there is 2 weeks. They're gonna get lit up maybe 1 or 2 games, possibly 3 games, by a team that's just gonna throw the ball all over us.
So maybe your mindset is do your best to sweep the division, get in on a wild card, maybe.
Yes, I think. No, I I think they'll win the division. I definitely think that, and possibly they might be able to beat one of those teams that are able to throw all over them because you got Carson Wentz to win you one of those games. But I don't trust the secondary. I really don't. Not yet.
Go ahead, Joey. Did you have something?
So my question, I proposed this to the room about a minute ago. So the Eagles have a lot of injuries between secondary and now the offensive line with Lane Johnson and Peters down, and then the running back situation. If you are Howie, which position do you go in on? The tackle, the secondary, or the running back?
I know everybody's saying running back right now, but I really love Corey Clement. I wish you could have given him the ball more last game. They really kept on trying to give it to Smallwood. I felt like Clement should have just been in that backfield and that was it. I would say offensive line, tackle, whatever they need, because right now they're not protecting Wentz at all.
All right, so I'm gonna pose this one to the room. Did we just get exposed on our defensive line against the running game this past week, or is Saquon Barkley that much of a freak? What do you think, Hans?
My opinion is I think they just gave it to the Giants. They said you're going to beat us by the run. You're not going to beat us with the pass. I think that's why Barkley was able to have a big game. I feel like if you went after Barkley in that game and you wanted to shut down that running game, you probably would have had Jalen Mills getting beat on 2 double moves for a touchdown.
No, I agree. So
I think that they did. I think they did the same. I think they did the right thing. They just gave the Giants what they, whatever they wanted on the run. If the Giants kept on running and running and running, we might have lost that game.
yeah, so basically Eli, especially against us, he's one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league is getting rid of the balls. What do you think, Pat? You think Barkley's just a monster, or are you kind of in the same line as Will there, where you think they just set up for the pass and you're going to beat us with the run?
I think that kid's a freak. I mean, after watching him on Thursday, it was just like, wow. I mean, the kid's got some moves. He's got strength. His legs are like, they're like deer, but just all juiced up. He is incredible to watch. I hate to say it because he's a giant, but he's a freak, man. And like,
He's going to be a coach on our side for a long time.
Yeah, the Eagles went into this game knowing, listen, Eli's probably not going to throw the ball as much, and they're probably thinking we got to stop him with everything we got. And this kid is a juggernaut to run through this line. So I think the kid's a freak.
Absolutely. Well, look.
Yeah, but you don't think that he got those yards because the Eagles were so worried about getting beat by double moves, and of course Odell Beckham and Shepard apparently thinks that he's a really good wide receiver. But what I'm saying is do you think that just the Eagles did give so much cushion to those wide receivers that Barkley had time to run to where the secondary was backed up, and that's why he was able to get upfield so quickly on his carries?
I just, like I said, I just feel, yeah, he's a freak. And Eli, man, he's so confident with himself.
Nah,
he knows he's cooked, like, and he knows he can't hang with the bird. So I just feel like him handing it to Barkley was his only option. But even as soon as he was trying to go, as soon as he took a couple feet back, he started losing the ball. So I still feel like Barkley is just a freaking nature.
If they played it that way, then I don't blame them.
Barkley get that kind of game against us.
Now I hear you. Well, look.
In the playoffs, if he's facing us to where we know we have to win no matter what, and it's down to it, can Barkley have that game against us, or would we try to shut him down and possibly maybe give up a little bit more passing yards?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out the next time we play the Giants. But look, Willie Guns, we're just about out of time. But are you going to be joining us for the live remote? You're going to be home, you said, right?
Yes, I will be home.
Beautiful, my man. Well, we will see you then, live remote, October 20th, at Bear Rec. From 1 to 3, he will be there to help He will be there to help bag up the trash after the tournament's over and everything like that. And he might talk a little sports. Well, look, for Willie Guns on the line, for Pat from Ambler next to me, Joe Marks, James Scores, and my man Taylor behind the glass. I'm Tom Kelly. This is the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show, and we're out.
Later.
You can just bang on Will. That's cool.
He would want I felt like he wanted to punch me in the face.
No. That's what he will pose those questions for you, and if you have an opposite view, which is totally cool.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't say anything about Le'Veon Bell, because they were like, what do you mean you don't want Le'Veon Bell?
Oh boy. James, grab that, Joey. Somebody pop the camera off. Turn the camera off. By YouTube.